This video is for Scorpio Sagittarius risings, who are actually Sagittarius risings. In this video, I'd like to talk about the fall, what it was, how it happened, and how it created the reality that we live in now. I've touched on this in another video before, but I feel compelled to talk about it again in a little bit more clarity. So, in the beginning, there were two main archetypes, woman and man. Now, there's always been the question, what came first, the chicken or the egg? Well, in the beginning, there was woman, and man came from woman, just as it happens now. A child is born from a woman, so the male archetype was a split version of the female archetype. So with these two archetypes, it created the two dimensions, the eighth, which is the dimension of women, and the seventh. Now, why this? In the beginning, there were many different archetypes because we have, in the zodiac wheel, we have first houses that occur in every single house of the constellation. So we are Scorpio Sagittarius risings because we're cuspers, which means that our first house is cusping on one energy and then also on a second. Now for us, this is because of the fall, which I'll get to later on. But there is Aries risings, Taurus risings, Gemini risings, and then because of the fall, there's also a lot of different cusping energies. But every single one of these are an archetype. That's why if you're watching this video and you're not a Scorpio Sagittarius rising, maybe you're Gemini rising, that's the archetype that you embody. Now, our archetype created the fall, and that was done through self-abuse, masturbation. And I don't like saying that word a lot, so I'll just say self-abuse. But that was how it began, I believe. First, the act of procreation happened between man and woman to create a child. Man and woman had to come together to be reunited as one. With that happening, the man who was still, I'm going to say, in a state of emotional immaturity, liked it and wanted more. When in reality, within the confines of natural law, between a man and a woman, it's one child. A child is a timeline to the future. And if you have a child, you are a part of the future, given that you take care of that child properly and you're a proper role model for that child. Having multiple children goes against natural law because it causes multiple timelines, and it's chaos. And you can attest to this if you've seen anyone with multiple children family. It's not very often that it's harmonious, and it does cause a lot of issues. So our archetype was responsible for the fall. Man then decided to procreate with himself, which is self-abuse. And then from there, that was the first fall, which man put fear into himself. And then the second fall after that was man putting fear into something outside of himself. And this is the story of Genesis in the Bible, where the snake in the garden tempted Eve. Now, the snake in the garden was the Scorpio Sagittarius archetype. It was an older man that took advantage of the mutable energy of a child. Children are the sixth dimension beneath the seventh and the eighth, and that energy is mutable, meaning that it can either rise to a power or it can fall to a force. But children are neither a force because they're not in the eighth dimension. Women eventually get there after they bear a child and become menopausal. And then men, after they go through puberty, become men and stay in the seventh dimension. So that represents either the rising to a force or rising to a power. But children are mutable. Um, so this man, um, the archetype abused his power of being in the seventh dimension and taught the sexual act to Eve. Eve then, not understanding what really happened, and feeling confused and hurt and ashamed, then went and taught the sexual act to Adam, which would be another young man, who is not yet ascended to the seventh dimension. So that's what our archetype did. That doesn't necessarily mean that you did that in your actual life. We're all individual expressions of the Scorpio Sagittarius archetype, but that's why we carry around this guilt, this heavy burden of feeling like we did something wrong, of a lot of self-sabotage, self-hurting behavior, doing nothing, being spiritually lazy, lost, just staying in our original timeline, which is staying in chaos and not really helping to fix the mess that we created. And that's what we need to change. So that's how the fall happened. And again, that was our archetype that was responsible for that. Because we're mutable fire, Sagittarius risings, fire is spirit. And being that it's mutable, mutable energy is also about choices. So rising and falling based on the decisions that we make. So so the choice that we made, which was not a good choice, was we chose to fall. And in doing that, we disrupted the natural flow of the wheel. So we fell to a fixed energy, to Scorpio, which is our 12th house, instead of rising to Capricorn, which is our second house, which is fixed waters, which is the force of love. And for us, that is established power over invested time, discipline. So whatever you establish your time into and your discipline into, that's how it pays off in your life. So if you've spent your life doing nothing, playing in shit, and believing that you're that Scorpio energy, that's what you're going to manifest. And for myself, I asked to learn about spirituality this year, and I am getting that lesson firsthand. I'm realizing that I've learned all this information and I've been holding it in, and I haven't shared it with any of you. And I want to, because we need to unite. All the Scorpio Sagittarius risings, we need to unite and get in contact with each other, because that's something that has never happened in this repeated timeline, and that is something that can save this world. We can change this reality. But again, if we choose to believe that we're that Scorpio energy, that fixed energy, which again is our 12th house, then we can't do that. And that is basically symbolized by being a slave to fear, by going the wrong direction. It's like trying to get to the end without running the race. It's like hopping over the finish line backwards, thinking that you did anything or went anywhere. It's cheating, and it's played out in this reality as the Ouroboros, or the infinity loop, the snake eating its tail. Well, we're the head and the tail of the snake. So what we need to do is we need to release the tail. We need to let go. We need to break this original time loop, and get ourselves headed in the right direction, which is Capricorn, establish power over invested time. and then for most of us, it is our second house, which is Taurus, which is the force of love. So um, the only way that we can really save this reality again is we have to use our creative powers, which is the power of, or the mutable energy of fire, to either create or destroy. Um, we have to create something in this reality that's never been done before. For myself, that's why I'm making these videos, because I know I've never done this before in any other lifetime, and it is truly um, my hope and my belief that other Scorpio Sagittarius risings will see this and answer my call. That we need to get in touch, we need to communicate, and we need to create. The Capricorn risings are the major energy in this reality, the power that is keeping the illusion of time, of us moving through time, going. So the Capricorn risings are builders, are engineers, designers, creators. They're the ones that hold up the illusion that we're actually going anywhere in space and time. And when in reality, we're not. And the energy just, the energy of Capricorn just cannot do it anymore. We see a lot of it in repeat. There's a lot of repeat movies. There's repeated occurrences in history. This is why we can't get rid of crime. We can't get rid of homelessness. This is why we can't get rid of pedophilia, murder, drugs, everything. All these things should have been gone a long, long time ago, and we can't get rid of them because we're not doing any work, and we haven't gone anywhere. So again, Capricorn, we owe a debt of gratitude, to say the least, to the Capricorn rising stars, because they're the ones that have gotten us this far. And the best way for us to do that is by us creating and doing the right thing, rising instead of rising to Capricorn, to help them create the future in the right direction, as opposed to falling to the fixed and just repeating this time loop. We can't do it anymore. We have to create. And again, if all of us just unite and spread more messages like this, if we do writing, if we paint pictures, like anything, just to elevate the human consciousness for everybody to wake up and realize. And because if not, then we just hit the wall at Aquarius, which I mentioned in another video, which is just it's the apocalypse. It's just the end of time. It's where the end and the beginning are simultaneous, where the world is destroyed, but it's also reborn again. So it's Revelations and Genesis all together. I don't know how far off in the future it is. I just know that I have that deep knowing in my heart that that is a reality that we get to every single lifetime, and we can't do it anymore. We have to go the right way. That's all for now. I'm going to do some more videos. I have more to share. Next video, I'm going to talk about the dimensions a little more in depth. But again, you need to know that the reason why you feel that deep guilt and the sadness and the pain, it may not be necessarily what you've done in your lifetime, even though we've all made mistakes. I've made some very bad mistakes. I've hurt myself. I've hurt other people. But it's because of what the archetype did. And we are all being Sagittarius, Scorpios, well, really Sagittarius rising, but being Scorpio Sagittarius cuspers, we are attached to that archetype. And we cut out our fire, which is our Sagittarius part of our first house, our will. And that's why doing stuff like this is so hard for us, because if we have any will at all, it's a flicker or an ember, and we have to grow it. And I know I don't know what the situation is like for the rest of you, but I know myself, I'm in a tight spot, and I have to grow my will and keep reaching out and doing videos like this because it's the only way that I can move forward with my life, and we can provide a good future for the rest of the world, and we can make up for the mistakes that we made. So I really hope that I really hope that some of you see this. Speaking out to the technology is very much speaking out to the rest of you. Um, it's telepathic communication outside of ourselves. And if you see it, if you have any questions, please reach out. Please communicate. Um, I want to talk to you. I hope you want to talk too. We're all one, so that seems very reasonable. And we have to just come up with a plan of of how to fix this reality, and we can save the world, because it can't keep going on the same. It can't keep going on the same track that we've been doing for lifetimes. So again, that's all. More to come, and thank you for listening.